Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome today to a full look at one of the stars of the 2019 Geneva Motor Show. We're on the Koenigsegg stand and this is their new jesko. It is a mega car with 1,600 horsepower. It has ambitions of reaching 300 miles per hour. I went to the Koenigsegg factory a couple of days ago and had a look under the skin, but here it is, the completed car, and I've also got the key so we can check out the auto skin. So let's take a full look at this inside and out and explore the new Koenigsegg jesko. As the jesko is spinning here on the turntable in front of us, you can very quickly get an idea of what this car is all about. It's Koenigsegg's follow-up to the incredibly successful and very fast Agera RS, coming into the lineup alongside the Regera but with a very different purpose. The jesko is all about brutal track performance, and you only have to look at it to know that that's the name of the game. So in the Koenigsegg lineup, it sits alongside the Regera, but doing things entirely different. The Regera is more of a luxury hyper grand tourer, you could almost say, that introduced Koenigsegg direct drive, basically a gearbox with no gears, whereas this is purely internal combustion engine as opposed to a hybrid with their brand new light speed transmission, a 9-speed gearbox that, get this, has 7 clutches. 7 clutches. That's a little bit more advanced than a normal traditional dual clutch, and we'll talk more about that as we explore it. I'm going to open up all the different body panels, show you inside the engine bay, we'll check out the interior, talk about the aerodynamics, take a look at the particularly clever new instrument cluster that they've installed as well. But just to give you some of the headline numbers, at 250 kilometers per hour, the jesko has 880 kilos of downforce, over 1,000 when it speeds up even further. It has an ambition, if you have the non-track version, this is the track version of the jesko, to reach 300 miles per hour. And you can believe that Koenigsegg can do that because the Agera RS reached a peak speed for a production car of 284, and when it did the run in both directions, the average of 277.9 miles per hour, breaking a record that had stood up to that point for nearly 80 years. Christian himself has also just arrived on the stand, having revealed the car just here at Geneva. But let's take a good look at this. Take it all in. The door is opening up. The doors have this auto skin functionality which you can control from the key that I'm going to show you quite shortly as well, to see how that works and how it all interacts and how you can control it. But look at the aero, look at the size of this front splitter, look at that rear wing, taking inspiration from the Koenigsegg 1-to-1 that was launched 5 years ago now, the world's first mega car, as it offered both 1,360 horsepower as well as only 1,360 kilos of weight, the 1-to-1 ratio. This car doesn't have a final weight figure, 1,600 horsepower, I think you can bet it's going to be less than 1,600 kilos, so this is monstrously fast. They have lots of new technologies that Koenigsegg are responsible for example, that gearbox, the carbon fiber wheels that they introduced and really created, and with the press of the button you can see how the doors close back down as well. And then this active rear wing, the top-mounted wing for the best possible downforce effect on the underside with the dual layers, the large end plates, traditional Koenigsegg styling, instantly recognizable as a Koenigsegg car. For example, the way it swoops in towards the rear like the Regera, even the exhaust tip in their normal style, these side intakes, absolutely ginormous with the cooling and airflow all controlled and directed around the car. Basically, for the jesko, they've jumped in at the deep end with a seriously hardcore, track-focused monster that we just know is going to be undeniably fast. You look at it spinning around here, what a stunning thing. The next bit of party trick though is with this, the Koenigsegg key with their crest on one side. On the other side you have the buttons where you can open and control various aspects. So for example, a double press of the left door will literally lower the window and then it will pop open the door using motors. And it folds in the door mirror, which itself has a lot of technology. It has actually got a parking sensor here on the underside, as you can see, that basically will stop it hitting a curb, but it's a new mechanism that can be retrofitted to Koenigsegg's, which is slightly closer to the car, slightly higher, so it's less likely to hit a curb underneath. But my favourite is when you open up the rear clamshell. A double press of this button, let's just see this lifting up and get a good view of the entirety of the powertrain back here. And what a beautiful place this is. Look at it, the Koenigsegg triplex suspension suspension that they introduced with a third damper that you can see running across the car. But back there is the 5-litre twin turbocharged V8, their own in-house block, a tiny engine in fact, that creates 1,600 horsepower when it's running on E85, 1,500 newton meters of torque. And this thing, well, we're talking about a car that's easily, you know, well high into the 400 kilometers per hour. I don't know what the 0 to 100, 0 to 200, 0 to 300 times will be, but presumably we're going to be talking some of the smallest numbers that you've ever heard in respect to those different areas. The car can be had on the Michelin Sport Cup 2 R tyres, the even more focused tyres than have previously really been seen. But down there is the gearbox. It weighs just 90 kilos. It's half the length basically of a conventional dual clutch, weighs nothing, takes up next to no space, and leaves even more room to focus on the sheer beauty of this interior, even with the Koenigsegg crest there in front of their new lights. They've made their own new tail lights and headlamps for this car, rather than using previous existing models or getting them from elsewhere from third-party companies. But you can see the carbon fibre, the exposed carbon fibre on the underside of the rear clam. It's actually made out of 2 body panels. It used to be one single part, which meant to do any work on the car, you kind of had to lift this entire panel, which clearly isn't the easiest thing, whereas now there's a central line that almost divides the car and separates it, so you have these easier to manage body panels and can obviously access the wing and various bits. But when I met with Christian at the factory to take a look at this, it wasn't fully assembled, so this is the first time really for me to see the car all assembled into one piece and get a good proper look at it like this. And wow, look at that diffuser down at the back. Look at this, how you can see so much through the car for airflow. The badge itself is actually floating and attached from behind, which creates quite a cool appearance as well. And then down there, just the exposed carbon appearance of it, the pearlescent white paintwork. This is a spectacular thing. Look, Koenigsegg on the underside of the rear wing as well, an active rear wing, so when you stamp firmly on the brake, that will flip up to give the car even more stopping power from the rear end. I'm just going to take the key out again actually, just to close down the rear clam, so we can see that going down using its motors, and open up the front so we can take a look inside here just quickly. Give that a press. Now traditionally Koenigsegg roofs are removable. This is a removable roof panel. You could potentially fit it into the front, but to have this maximum aerodynamic downforce package, you have additional airflow coming through here and out of that scoop in the front bonnet. If you had the car that wasn't the track version, you'd have more room available in the front, where you could then place the roof panel itself. That window double bubbled roof can be stowed away inside the front so that you can drive the car with the open top. But that does work rather easily to do that from the key. The central wiper, as has always been a thing with Koenigsegg. If I just close this back down again quickly, press that button, and just actually, I'm going to close both doors as well, just to have the full look of the car as it is with everything closed, just for a second, and then let's pop it back open again just so we can see what's going on inside there, because I'm going to take a seat inside the car in a moment. Look at that. Very, very, very cool, isn't it, to watch that process in motion, to see it happen. They created their own headlights. They built these in-house. Christian showed me actually the units and the LEDs and the way they make them, but they're authorized to create homologated headlamps. So literally a Koenigsegg in-house unit that is made and provided for the car. Now I have special permission to take a seat inside the car, but before we do, just to show you a few more things. Of course, it's built around the carbon fibre tub, like all Koenigseggs. It's slightly longer, wider and taller, 40 millimeters longer, 30 millimeters taller actually, which just gives a little bit more room inside the cabin, also slightly more dynamics by making the car a touch wider. But inside here, have a look at this, the steering wheel, the new smart wheel, which has haptic touchscreen controls that you can configure on either side, and the smart display up top, which as I rotate the steering wheel, look at that, the center of the display actually turns to go with it, so that it's always positioned the correct way up. You have the gear lever in the center, which has your 2 different driving modes, your more normal, more traditional mode, and then the UPOD, Ultimate Power on Demand option as well. But I'm going to climb over this incredibly wide carbon fiber side sill to take a step inside the Koenigsegg jesko, doing this very delicately and carefully. Look at that up top. You have the G-force sensor as well. That's quite cool little thing to have up there. You have the displays, a development on again from what was seen, well basically what was seen on the Regera, incorporated into this. Your touchscreen mode that works however you control it. Even if you use, say, the corner of a mobile phone, it doesn't need to be the actual touch from your hand, as you would, I guess, see on a mobile phone or that kind of thing. But just looking around here, jesko, one of 125 cars. The engine start-stop button down here at the bottom, the window controls and toggles. Hey look, you even have some cup holders as well as the harnesses, and the way they put the central harness buckle down into the middle of the seat and it's held down securely, even that's carbon fibre. Everything in this about weight saving. How cool is that? Click it back down and hold it in place. This is car number 251, by the way, hence the embroideries on the harness and also the signaging outside. And then you've got the glass roof panel too, looking up at the show lights. Apologies, it's quite bright up there with a view to the rear. Look at that wing, look at that wing. That is an incredible view. And then this ambient lighting for the central stripe, continuing what you saw around the outside. This is a very, very special place to sit. As you look around, you can see the fasteners for the roof mechanism. This just feels like a hypercar, and I mean, it's the step on beyond a hypercar. It's a mega car. Look at that display. You've got your lift system here if you need to raise the suspension. Lots of technology that's been seen before, suspension that's adaptive. Look at the speaker grills as well. Everything, just Koenigsegg logos, even on the toggles for the air conditioning vents, which themselves are also carbon fibre, Alcantara for the dashboard. This is all breathtaking, and you can see straight into the mechanism as well for the door hinges. Look down at the pedal box, illuminated with the green glow. I guess you can change the lighting colour, but down there the Koenigsegg crest as well, worn on the pedals, at the footwell. The Koenigsegg lettering at the bottom of the steering wheel. Everything about this interior is very, very special and looks incredibly cool. So you do have the shift paddles if you do want to drive it in the normal manual mode as opposed to pulling it all the way down. You can see that the symbols up on the top of the gear lever, although in the chrome quite hard to actually focus on it, but reverse, neutral and drive to the normal left side, and then you can push it to the right to have a more kind of traditional, I suppose, sequential, where you can bang the gear forwards and backwards, or you can pop it into ultimate power on demand. So let me just take a gentle and careful step back out of the Koenigsegg Jesko, where you can control the doors as well, by the way, by a touch on here. Door mirror swings out while that's in the process, because this has all the sensors. You've got a 360 bird's eye camera, you've got a temperature sensor on the outside, you've got the parking sensors to make sure it doesn't hit anything. You just have all the tech, all the luxuries, all the mod cons in a car that is quite frankly this brutal. And how amazing is it to see it here, fully completed, after visiting the factory while some of the body panels hadn't yet been installed. Christian showed us around before the rear clam had been fitted, before the interior was fitted. That was my first look really at the interior of the car. And the wheels of this, by the way, the front wheel was under 6 kilos, the rear wheel was at about 7 kilos, the carbon fiber wheel options. That is next to nothing for a 21-inch wheel. That's one of the crazy things. And then you can see that split bodywork again, but all the finishings, and look at that, look at the triplex suspension that you can see straight through with the strut base underneath it. Everything just looks remarkably special and incredible, a proper tribute to Christian's father, that can also do this and be opened back up, pop open the rear and see that, and in the front, although you can't see it with the carbon fibre piece, there's a new triplex suspension up front as well. The first time Koenigsegg have done that in the front of a car, but that basically means that it can have that same dynamic control up front that it has at the rear, all basically optimizing performance and turning this thing into an absolutely ridiculous machine that is somehow road legalized, even though you look at it and you have the wing that looks quite like that. I just can't get my head around the insanity of this. Everything about it is very, very cool. And then down at the front also, just talking about those split body panels, it's the same here with the front fender that has the join in the centre, all very much focused around that central line that runs up the entire length of the car. So I'm just going to, I'll leave that open because people are looking at it and I think enjoying the engine bay currently being revealed. Ginormous carbon ceramic brakes, absolutely massive discs inside there. I like the accent pack on here, of course, the yellow and blue of the Swedish flag, but then the green touches as well, just complements the contrast, I should say, against the white paintwork. The carbon, the exposed carbon, all stunning, paintwork stunning, and a huge congratulations really to Christian and the team for actually managing to launch this car. The Koenigsegg Jesko, the technical specification for you just to see a little bit more of that information. 1420 kilos actually for the full weight of the car, 1600 horsepower, 1420 kilos, and some more of Koenigsegg's technology and functions that they've created at 275 kilometers an hour, 1000 kilos of downforce. These numbers just don't really make sense, do they? They are from a different stratosphere in terms of what this car can achieve, what it can do, and how crazy it is. The way that motorizes and just closes itself back down and then is secure and then offers the level of downforce that this car actually does manage through that rear wing. And then that's what happens, by the way, when the brake pedal is pressed. You can see just how it pivots itself slightly further forwards, mounted from above, all to keep it as smooth as possible. That's the reason you have basically nothing on the underside of the rear wing to maximize the usability. And obviously the wing itself has to sit within the proportions of the body, which is why the boomerang shape comes about, so that for homologation reasons it's not extruding beyond the body panels around the car. And like I said, inside, number 251 represents this car's build number in the 25 years or so since Koenigsegg was founded and started creating the cars like this that we enjoy looking at so much, and I'm sure quite a few owners out there enjoy driving. The triplex suspension. Oh, you can just see it behind that carbon piece back there, the triplex damper, the third damper that you have up at the front, of course, one on each side, and that additional one across as everything just starts opening up again. Auto skin, using the ghost button on the bottom, actually will open it all at once, which is even more special to actually watch. So here we have it, the Koenigsegg Jesko that's been revealed here at the 2019 Geneva Motor Show, completed and finished. An opportunity for us to take a look at the interior, to take a full look at all of the details in its final appearance with all the body panels and everything set. So wow, congratulations again to Christian and the team. Big thanks to everyone. I enjoyed the visit immensely to start learning about the car. Now to be able to be here and see it, can't wait to film some more with the Koenigsegg Jesko in the future. That's it for today though. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate your support, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.